my channel. My name is Mercury, and in today's video we're discussing Mercury in Leo. So in my previous video we did Mercury in Cancer, so go check that out. But in this video we're doing Mercury in Leo, and in my next video we're going to do Mercury in Leo through the houses, because everybody can have a Mercury in Leo, but it'll be displayed differently depending on the house that it's in. However, in this video we're just doing Mercury in Leo, just describing the, guys, it's a Mercury retrograde right now, so anyway, but like we're just gonna be discussing, you know, the general archetype of a Mercury in Leo person and what they do and like why they do the things that they do. But before we do that, you know, we have to discuss Mercury, what Mercury is, and then we have to discuss the archetype of Leo, right? So let's start with Leo. Leo is a fire sign. Leo is ruled by the 5th house. The 5th house is the house of how we have fun, how we enjoy ourselves. Entertainment. I think this is pretty much the best house. Like, this is the best house. Yeah, this is pretty much the best house that we have in our 12 astrological houses. You know, this is where we have fun. This is where we enjoy things. This is where we feel good because we're having fun and feeling joyous, and you know what I'm saying? This is where we like, it's like this childlike energy. Just think of how children just have fun no matter what they do, no matter where they go, because they don't really care about like things that make sense, things that make sense. If it feels good, that's what they want to do. They just want to express that and feel good about themselves, yeah. So that's the 5th house. This is the dope house. This is the house that we usually want to indulge in. And people who have like a 5th house stellium are usually people who indulge a lot, especially if you have like Jupiter here, you know. But Jupiter, having Jupiter in the 5th house, or having stelliums in your 5th house, you're just someone that naturally wants to have fun all the time, you know, or you just naturally gravitate towards people that are fun or expressive, or like, you know, artistic things, or anything that makes you express yourself creatively, or, you know, just even in expression. But self-expression is somewhat of a creative thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So that's the 5th house. So it's how we have fun, how we're entertained, how we choose to entertain other people, which will be different, modified depending on, you know, what your 5th house is, how you entertain yourself, but also how you entertain other people. You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. It's like casual dating, casual hookups, those light-hearted things that we like to indulge in also. You know what I'm saying? It's very similar to Venus vibes. Only Venus is really just about the feeling good, not necessarily about having fun, whereas 5th house is about having fun and being joyous and all of that, you know what I'm saying? So then we have that. We have fire, which is all about fire and expressing yourself. Like right now, you know, like light. It's shining a light. Fire does that. Fire illuminates things. It puts a clear vision to things, and it burns through like filters and shit, you know what I'm saying? So we essentially get the purest essence of it. So that's what fire does, right? And it's fixed fire, so it's fixated, aka being stubborn or consistent on its own way of seeing and feeling also, because fire is about the feel, you know. It's just more so external, with expressing how you feel something with your hands, or how you say something, because it's different. There's a difference between speaking and talking like this and having no expression. But then it's another thing to be on some, you know what I'm saying? You adding some fire, you adding some like vision to that bitch when you out here using your hands and using your face and you showing energy, and now we can actually see and feel how you feel about what you're saying, and how we can see how you actually feel. Just generally, really, we can see how you feel. Whereas water signs, we don't necessarily always know how you feel, even though it can be written on your face, but we don't necessarily always know how you feel, because you may want to hide that shit. But even because like when see, that's the thing with expressing yourself, because that's such a fiery thing to do, like expressing yourself, really just generally, like your facial expression, so it's expressing itself, which is a fiery element, you know what I'm saying? So whether or not you want to show us how you feel, whether or not you do, if your face is showing it, bitch, we can see it, and aka seeing is vision, which is fire, right? So we have that. So Leos are fixated on their own way of seeing things. They only see things from their own point of view. Similar to Aries. only Aries is ruled by the first, like the reasons for them only seeing things in their way is because of that first house, the self, you know what I'm saying? It's also fire, so they only see, they initiate how themselves, how they should see shit, you know. So Leos and Aries like share a lot in common, also because Aries is exalted in the sun, but it's also ruled by Mars, you know. So just that sun connection, like, and the fire connection, the sun and fiery connection, that's the thing that links them together. But they have similar things, you know. But for the most part, we're talking about Leo right now. And Leos, just like Aries, don't see, or they struggle to see things from your side. You know what I'm saying? Because when they get stubborn on something, and as fun as they are, as fun and exciting, and you may think, oh, you know, they're people pleasers because they like everybody to have fun and everybody to be enjoying themselves. So you may think, oh, they're like kind of like Libras where they're easily persuaded. No, they're not. unless maybe they have Leo placements, but we're just talking about Mercury and just the archetype itself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you may think Leos are like easy, passive, and I feel like maybe sometimes they could be, just depending on the crowd. Like if they know, oh, okay, should everybody's like asking me what I want to go do, I want to go to this party, should let me make everybody happy and let me feel good by saying yeah, and you're like, oh yeah, let's go party, yeah, and then everyone's gonna be like, yeah, oh my god, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's all about, it depends on the situation, but for the most part, it's all about how they feel about it, and if they're gonna get attention from it, which is going to make them feel good, aka once again, then they'll do it. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, as I said, they're ruled by the 5th house. They are a fixed fire sign, and they are ruled by the sun itself, which is doing the most right now to my skin. It's ruled by the sun, right? So what does the sun do? The sun is basically just like this big ball of like fire, you know, but it's like the biggest... It's the biggest ball of fire. It's past Jupiter, and Jupiter is all about being big and expanding, really. But the sun is like at its most expanded. It's at its most expanded capacity, really. It's like nothing in our galaxy is bigger than the sun. I would assume. I don't know though. You know, I've never been to space, but I'm assuming though that is the biggest fucking planet here, compared to all the other planets. So this is why Leo invented the go big or go home, because anything that they say is going to be huge. Like, they will make the smallest thing huge as fuck. That's why they're dramatic. Dramatic as fuck. They foul, they're going to tell, if they trip, they're going to like tumble over and like, oh my god. You know what I'm saying? It's just like super dramatic, but it's also like just for fun, just for vibes, really. Just always remember that 5th house. Always remember that 5th house. And then anyway, so we have that's the Leo archetype, right? And then we have Mercury here. Then we have Mercury, that's just thinking, how we think, how we analyze, as you heard me say before in my other videos, you know. It's thinking, it's analyzing. How do you process information? How do you give out information? You know what I'm saying? So when we put that together, we have somebody that thinks and analyzes and processes information and does all of that in an expressive, childlike, fiery way. You know what I'm saying? And as I've said in my other videos, as I was telling you about people with, you know, like Cancer, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Mercury in the 5th house, you know, I always explain how for you to really analyze the situation, it's filtered through like how it was expressed to you, or how the vision looked to you. You know what I'm saying? And by that I mean, for example, right, as I've made the example so many times, and when I explain the 5th house and all the other fire houses, but more so the 5th house, it's all about expression. How you analyze the situation is by creating, and remember 5th house is all about like, you know, theaters and drama and, you know, like soap operas and you know what I'm saying, movies type of shit. Like, everything is dramatic and it's heightened, you know what I'm saying? So that's how Leos process information to them. So if you're coming to Leo Mercury and you look bored, or like just your facial expression is really bored, or you're not someone that, let's say you're like an Aquarius, and that day you just like on some, you don't even want to exist as a person, let alone express yourself. Or you're a Capricorn, you know, where you're just also fucking annoyed with a lot of things and you just don't want to express yourself, or whatever the case may be, you know. And you come to Leo with that shit, and let's say you're talking about your day, but you're not really, they're not feeling your fire, because that's the thing with fire signs. for them to connect to you, or for them to understand who you are, there has to be some kind of like expression, aka fire, for them to connect to. Because with fire signs, it's like they burn through reality, they burn through as I said, the filters of things, right? But if there's nothing to burn, then they can't connect to anything, because for them to connect to something, they have to connect to its own fire. That's how fire connects to other fire, so that they create like a big fire, you know. Or and if you're like an earth sign, then you know, like a fire sign will burn through you, and then therefore you like become your pure essence or whatever, shit like that. But as I said, fire is just gonna burn through shit. You can't really like hold fire and then not burn, because it'll just burn you until you're ash, and then you're in your purest form. I'm stuttering because it's Mercury retrograde. This is so like humiliating, but it's not my fault, okay? But yeah, that's the thing. So that's the thing with fire, with Mercury in Leo people. When they're talking to you, they are seeing the expression. They are seeing like how you are formulating your words. Like, how are you, like, what's the energy behind what you're saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you feel about it? And show me how you feel about it. Show me with your hands. Show me with your face. Show me with your energy. You know what I'm saying? Show me with that passion. They connect to passion. That's the thing. All fire signs will connect to passion. And that's how they communicate with other people passionately. So these are the type of people sometimes, especially with like Mercury and fire signs, even Aries, Sagittarius, you may think they're fighting with you, but it's not. It's really just passion. They're like speaking passionately with you. Even if they are angry, they can be passionately angry with you, and then that's when you're like, whoa, okay, well, calm down. But it is about passion, because fire is passion. The fire signs are the most passionate, and Scorpio because of Mars, you know what I'm saying? But they are the most passionate people. And passion, if you think about passion, it's like this very strong feeling. It's like this hot, burning feeling. It's similar to anger. I won't lie. Passion and anger are there's like a thin line between that bitch and Tamba. It's very, very thin, you know. But yeah, that's Leos. So they connect to passion. So if you're not passionate when you speak, then they're not really connecting with you, unless what you're saying has already, you know, it's like you're saying something that makes sense, because it's in its pure essence, you know what I'm saying? So the fire can't necessarily burn. It's like, have you ever tried, you know, when you smoke weed from a bong or pipe, and let's say you smoked all your weed, so now it's just ash. So when you try to light the shit, it can't light anymore, because it's already, like, the fire has burned through everything, so there's nothing more to burn. You know what I'm saying? So that would be like the purest essence of it. So unless, if you're not going to be passionate, at least say something in its purest essence for a fire sign Mercury, even fire sign moon, fucking sun, whatever. For them to connect to you, if you're not being passionate, then you have to deliver that piece of information at its purest essence, aka being direct, or aka being, you know, honest. Really just honesty. And a lot of fire signs and earth signs will get along, because technically, like, when fire burns earth, or when fire burns things, it becomes ash. And if you think about ash, like, ash is technically an earthy element, you know what I'm saying? Because now it's like sure, it's dust, but I mean, dust is technically also earth, you know what I'm saying? So that's why a lot of fire signs and earth signs will get along, because fire signs burn through reality, but earth signs also like directness, because of the practicality, so that they can know what the fuck is going on, you know. And that's why you'll find a lot of Leos dating Virgos, because they have that understanding, you know what I'm saying? It's that genuine vibe. Yes, fire signs and air signs are sextiles and whatever, but air signs have this tendency of walking around the truth, you know, and fire signs will see right through that shit. They'll burn through that air, or they'll see through that fog of air of you trying to walk around a situation, or walk around a conversation, or, you know, you're not getting to the point quickly. They can see, like, they can already see what the point is. That's the thing. But for the most part, that's why I'm saying, like, earth signs and fire signs will get along for that particular reason, because earth signs also want to get to the point quickly, so that we can find a solution as quickly, you know. But that's the thing with Leos, though. That they're also like a product of doing shit, like, not a product, but like they do shit like that, you know what I'm saying? And also, speaking of Leos, right, Leo Mercury people, as I've said, how they think and communicate is all based with passion and how you're expressing something. But I've also realized Mercury and Leos are really, really good in math, and I think it's because it's like very similar to having a Gemini sun sign. Whereas a Gemini and the Sun, where you kind of analyze, and how you express yourself is via talking and just expressing these many ideas. I think it'll be a similar display of energy when Leo was in Mercury, where it's like we see how you think and communicate and you analyze, because you're constantly, it's on your face. Like when you're like, for example, let's say you're in an argument or something, some people just because like they can't help their faces, like you'll see their facial expression, like it's like how they're expressing themselves while they're in an argument. You can kind of tell what's going on in their head or something like that, and a Mercury and Leo person may not necessarily always know that they're like doing faces. I think all fires are like fire, sun, moon, and especially rising signs. But I say Mercury because Mercury would be like, because you're analyzed. So for example, as I said, let's say you're in school and you're not quite understanding something and you do this face like, what? This face? You're like in your head already trying to analyze shit, like, what the fuck? See, so you can't, it's like you can't help but not make facial expressions. And most of the times it's like really funny to watch a Leo Mercury do shit like that, because they can't help but be fucking hilarious, like no matter what they do. You know what I'm saying? As I said, the fifth house is all about how we have fun, and like I think most people with like a lot of fifth house energy or even Leo energy are naturally funny people without even trying sometimes. And when they are trying, it's like, okay, you're doing too much now. But like most of the time, I'd say, like, let's just say most of the time, they're like really, really funny people that can't help but just like express everything that's on their mind. And that's the thing, that's how Leo Mercury's, let me say, they will be liars, because Leos are liars like Libras. But it's a lot easier to catch a Leo in a lie, because they're showed in their face. It will be shown with their face. And it'll be up to you to decide to confront that Leo person, because at the same time, they are a fixed sign, right? So they may want to consistently lie to you. But at the same time, because they are a fire sign, they may eventually be like, okay, fuck dude, I was lying, blah, blah, blah. And make it a joke at the same time. But what I'm trying to say is that Mercury Leos have a hard time, I guess, continuing to lie. And I think just like Libras, as I said, they are people pleasers, because they want good attention, so that's why sometimes they'll exaggerate things about them. They're over the top telling a story with them. They can't just like say, oh no, I went to my weed man to get some weed and like come back home and chill out. No, that's so boring. What? That is so boring, bruh. They have to tell you, oh yeah, I went outside, but dude, I actually got a text message from my ex, and show me, I'm going to the store, and I'm literally like, what the fuck am I? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be this whole dramatic thing, but it's also just because of the spice, they love the drama, even if it's like just subtle drama, just for vibes, man. Just for like upbeat vibes, They don't ever want to be bored, and they don't want anyone around them to be bored, especially when they're there. They don't want the boredom shit, because if they're bored, then they're gonna take it personally. Oh my god, Leos are so fucking conceited. Yeah, and also I wanted to mention that Leos can really suffer from narcissism or Leo placements, but I have a cousin who has a Leo Mercury conjuncting her sun in Leo and her Mars in Leo. And bitch, when I tell you that bitch is all about herself, like she's very confident. That's one thing. And I also realized that Leos, as hugely confident as they show the world, that opposition of Aquarius, like who they are, I guess, internally, or their internal psychology, aka Aquarius, is very lonely. So they can get very insecure in that way. So in order to, I guess, fill up that huge void, right? Because if the sun becomes a black hole, then it's just gonna vacuum everything in, like vacuum shit inside of it, so we can, like not be empty inside. So I feel like some Leos, if they don't get attention, or if they're not like being praised for being the greatest thing alive, or even in minor, it doesn't have to be like, they don't always, like, it doesn't always have to be a thing where, like, every day, constantly, when someone approaches the Leo, they have to be like, oh my god, Leo, you're the greatest thing to walk on earth. It can be just in minor ways, just even, like, listening to Leo. Because, you know, when Leo's, like, talking to people, like, in a conversation, they want that attention because they know how to work a room. They know how to work a story. They're good at telling stories because, like, yeah, they're exaggerating everything, you know. But they're also just really fun and expressive, and, like, they just have this life, like, this lightness, but this life, and it's, like, intense, but it can be really intense because of that overwhelming big sun, but it's also just very warm and, like, welcoming. So it's like, damn, okay, you're being extra and you're a lot, but, like, I'm willing to listen to you because of how you're expressing it and because of how you're making me feel. And that's the thing with Leo Mercury, is that they're really good at making people feel good, because they essentially want that. And it's very similar to, you know, having a Leo Venus, or just any Leo placements, you know, where they give a lot of attention and they give so much love, but they want that same love back in that same way, but without realizing that people have their own way of doing things. And just because maybe it's not as big as how the Leo does it, or as big as how the Leo would want it to be, you know, they may feel like, oh, okay, maybe people don't love me as much as I can love them, because the sun is huge. They have huge hearts, and when they do things, they go huge. Like, everything about them is big. Even when they're arguing, it's just a big thing. Like, they could fall, and it's just like this huge dramatic thing. And if you someone that, like, I don't know, you didn't grow up with attention, so giving attention to someone, or like someone feel like, if you're on someone like a Leo who needs or who really wants it, you know, and, like, I don't know, they're busy doing things to get it, you may get annoyed with this thing and be like, bitch, what the fuck? Like, why are you being annoying? Like, why are you being so extra? Why do you think everything is about you? Why do you just hate on the Leo? And the Leo is just there, like, so that's just who they are. Like, that's really just the archetype of Leo. Like, no one can stop it, no one can conceal it, because it's just gonna burn right through it anyway, you know. Like, I realized one thing about Leos is that, like, as small or as insecure as they may feel, like, an evening, the next day they're gonna, like, wear their boots again and, like, walk out the house on some, I'm the flyest bitch, I am the greatest thing to ever walk on this earth, you know what I'm saying? Like, they'll always find their way back there because of that thing, like, that consistency, you know what I'm saying? It's like, if once they feel, oh, you know, like, sometimes we all have those days where you just, like, I don't know, the sun, the water you're drinking just makes you look glorious. And then you start feeling inside of your heart of hearts, like, damn it, man. No, when God made me, God really took their time. God took their time. Like, wow, I'm gorgeous. See, when a Leo starts feeling like that, they're going to hold on to that feeling. They're going to hold on to that feeling. And then when they start feeling sad, they'll feel it. But then the next day, they're like, wait, remember that feeling? Don't let go of that feeling, because you still have that, you know? And then that's how they just always remember, like, they just on some all the time, you know what I'm saying? And it's because I think because they're so aware of how when they feel insecure, like, they always, I guess, would like people around them to always encourage them and be like, dude, you know, you're amazing, you're beautiful, because they know they'd want that. They know how to give that to people when they feel like, okay, right now you're feeling insecure, and I know what this insecurity feels like, and I know when I feel that way, I want to feel this particular way. So they know how to make, as I said, they know how to make other people feel good in that sense, you know what I'm saying? And that's how they hype you up. But Leos also love being hyped up. But Leo Mercury's so good at hyping people up. But yeah, anyway, as I was saying, how they think and analyze and process shit, as I said, they need passion. You need to, it's like they grasp things on how it's expressed to them, you know. So I think at school, I'm just trying to think of my friends who have Leo Mercuries. I have a friend who has a Leo Mars and Moon. Mercury, though. Do I know someone with a Leo Mercury? I have my cousin, but I haven't seen her, like, in school, though. Like, I haven't learned with her. I just know also Leo Mercury is just like Gemini sun signs, have a lot of friends, or they tend to make friends very quickly. very quickly, just because they know how to like divert the fun to it's like they know how to keep the fun going for everybody involved, just based on how they have fun. And if it's a situation where they have to include or they have to accommodate other people's way of having fun, they'll somehow twist it around so that the attention is back on them again, even in conversations. And before I say all of that about Leo Mercury's analyzing, I have to say this too, right? Leo Mercury's have this thing they do where, let's say, remember back in the days where being an indigo child was a whole thing, you know, and Willow Smith, they had their misfits, they started their misfits, and you know, just doing, and the chakra hands, I mean, now it's like still it's alive now, but back then in like 2014 13, when it was like, you know, with the indigos, whatever. So a lot of people didn't necessarily know exactly what the fuck they were talking about. And this is a really good example of how Leo Mercury's just do shit just to get the attention. So, I'm gonna go back to my cousin. So my cousin doesn't know shit about chakras, right? She was a Christian. I think she's still a Christian right now. But she doesn't know shit about, like, chakras. She doesn't even practice those things. But I was really into that shit, you know, because I was a big Misfit fan, whatever, and I was just Googling everything about that, you know. I remember buying crystals during that time. So I was, like, well educated with this. So I remember I was with my friends from my school who were also deeply into, well, maybe not say deeply, because, I mean, now it's deep, but back then it was just kind of, like, maybe a deep shallow, whatever. But she came with me, and when we were like hanging out with my friends and we were talking about, like, you know, all of these things like meditation, chakras, third eye, whatever. Mind you, she doesn't know shit about this, right? Cool. So then obviously, because I'm talking to my friends about what I know and shit, she's obviously taking notes and like she's listening to these things. And just like Geminis, Leos also have this tendency of, like, you know, they may kind of grasp a topic and kind of understand its dynamics, and they'll give in their 2 cents, you know, just to make you think like, oh, okay, she also knows what she's talking about, but she doesn't. Just like, you know how Geminis do that shit, like they may not know anything about what you're talking about, but they may grasp the little topics and like formulate an opinion around that, not knowing shit, but they may formulate an opinion around that, and then like communicate that just for the sake of a conversation. Leos will do that too, but instead of just the sake of a conversation, just for the sake of attention. So anyway, going back to my story, she obviously was listening to the conversation, and she was listening to me and my friends, you know, giving out 2 cents, and obviously the conversation we moved on. So then when I went to go visit her and her friends where she lived, this girl used everything we were saying so that she could lead that conversation with her friends. And I looked at her like, oh my god, like, what? You see, that's the thing. A Leo, maybe this is too bright, but a Leo will do shit like that. They will take, and for them, it's just innocent, you know. They just want to have something that will, like, contain their attention on them. I don't know what this shit is doing though. Okay, that's fine. They'll do anything, even if, just like Geminis, and that's why Geminis and Leos actually have a lot in common with that childlike energy. But a Leo will do similar shit like Gemini, but instead of doing it just for the sake of sounding smart or like just having a conversation with someone or trying to link with someone, a Leo will do it for attention, for the sake of attention. And, you know, good attention for Leo is dope, because if someone's gonna approach that Leo and be like, oh my god, you're so wise, like, oh my god, how do you know of this? A Leo loves feeling that. They love feeling like, yeah, I am wise, yeah, I am dope, yeah, I am amazing. You know what I'm saying? If it's gonna make them feel like that, they're gonna do it. And if they have this alignment, like if they have a Leo sun conjuncting their Mars with their Mercury, they're going to be doing this aggressive. So these are the type of people that they'll get angry if they're not getting attention. They feel really low if they're not getting attention. But mostly they get angry. Or they'll start doing aggressive shit to get attention. Also with Leo Mercuries, you know, because just similar to Geminis or people with third house influences or Libras, they like having people around them just so that they can bounce off their energy too, you know. I think being alone, if a Leo is home alone, these are the Leo Mercuries that are on their phones a lot, like 24/7, chatting to people. They're posting things just so that they can get compliments from people. And this is where that narcissism, I think Leos are the biggest narcissists. Leos and then Sag, and actually I don't know, I think all of the five sides are fucking narcissistic as fuck, you know. And if you don't know what narcissism is, I mean, I think everybody knows what narcissism is, you know. But I think Leos take it up a notch. I don't know who's a bigger narcissist between Aries and Leo. At the same time, Sag, you know, I don't know, guys. You can comment down who you think the bigger narcissist is. And I realized, like, this being a narcissist isn't necessarily a bad thing, especially if you don't have kids. Don't have kids and be a narcissist. Sounds so weird, please. You know, but I just don't, like, save that child the trauma, okay? But let me just break down the narcissism of a Leo, though, and this video is already 30 minutes long, so we'll end it now. But and I'll explain how Leos, you know, analyze and communicate. But narcissism really just pertains to you not seeing the wrong that you do, or the wrong, or the hurt that you're inflicting on other people, just because you think so highly of yourself, you know. And that's the thing, Aquariuses also share with that opposition, because Aquariuses just think they're smarter than everybody and they're just greater than humanity. But a Leo just thinks them being who they are, their energy, their vitality is just the greatest thing to ever, you know, give out to human beings. So to them, they hold themselves and their visions to this very high standard, you know what I'm saying? And then when somebody approaches them with an opposing thought or an opposing opinion that's not the same to theirs, then this is when they, like, you know, they can't connect with that, or they just like, oh, okay. And speaking of, oh, okay, that's the thing with Leo Mercuries. If they don't really care about what you're saying, which is most of the time, because just like Geminis, they have a very short attention span, but surprisingly, Leo Mercuries are really good with math. It's the same with the sun in Gemini. As I said, it's kind of like the similar energies, but they're really good in math. I figured that Leo placements are actually really good in math. I don't know what that is. I think maybe it's the because math is such a consistent, like, there's consistent formulas to doing math. So and Leo's a consistent sign. So as soon as they learn how to do that, they know how to, like, you know, align with its patterns and shit like that, you know, whatever. What was I saying? Oh yeah, but I was saying that if a Leo Mercury, when they're not listening to you and they're on their phone because, you know, the attention's not on them, these are the type of people that are like, yeah, Oh, by the way, dude, did I tell you what happened to me yesterday? And you're like, bro, were you even listening to me? But they weren't listening to you, because if whatever you're saying doesn't involve them, they don't give a fuck. And also, I realized Leo energy can be kind of crazy in the sense that, like, they may have difficulty taking responsibility for their wrong actions, you know. They may, just like Sagittarius, they may break your windows, they may break your vase, and they'll be like, oops, sorry. Sorry, dude. And then you may be fucking pissed off, and then you'll be like, either they'll run away, they'll be like, oh, okay, whatever, or they'll just make a joke out of it. It's like they find it difficult to take shit seriously, unless they have, like, an earth sign moon. But I have a friend who's a Taurus sign Leo moon, and as I said, that girl just... Anyway. So yeah, that's Leo Mercury's. And then just going back to what I was saying earlier about how they analyze and analyze shit and, like, how they communicate. Leos have this... They have how they analyze situations, how they, like, process things. It's like... I think they have to... Nothing, but they have to, like, connect to... Or they have to analyze its... I guess it's vitality or its life force. You know what I'm saying? Like, how was it received to them? And did it feel good also? Because if it didn't feel good to them, then they'll usually want to retaliate to them. Be like, whatever, I don't know, I'm better than this, or whatever, you know? And if not, then, like, they'll probably connect to it and do that thing, like... I hate that shit. I really hate that shit. You know, like... And then just laugh it off. Sometimes they're not even listening to you. They're just looking at, like, how your body's moving. I realized that all fire signs, even Sag, Aries, they're just looking at how you're doing it. Because if you're talking like this, then they'll also be like, eh. But if you're sitting like this, and talking, they'll be like, like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bruh? Ugh. Anyway, guys, my nose is starting to itch again. This was the video for Leo Mercury, people. I know you guys got it, because really, just the whole point of this video was how they analyze things is if it has patterns, if it has passion, and if it was fun. That's the video. So in my next video, we're gonna do Mercury in Leo through the signs, because as I said, everybody can have a Mercury in Leo, but it will be displayed differently depending on the house that it's in. Yeah. So that's all. See you in my next video. Bye.